So we have a few topics we want to cover here today. I think you'll get a lot out of this. We updated some of the stuff. Before I get started, I'm going to talk about the student loan, assuming that, since 90% of students do take out the student loan, which doesn't cover the entire cost of the school, but it is a large enough chunk that parents will have to write a check, and it's typically $5,500 the first year, it's $6,500 the second year, and $7,500 in year 2 and 3. And it's our opinion that the amount they expect to collect from the student for 3 or 4 years is not unbearable, and they should be able to work to get it. In fact, you'll see a lot of good tips today on how they can start immediately working and do things in college so they'll be able to work and easily pay off that kind of a loan. When the student leaves for college, he or she will owe $270 to $300 per month for 7 years if the maximum loan is accepted each year of college and is deferred to after they leave school. However, interest-only payments are possible while they're in school. A lot of people do that. In fact, right now, there's no interest on loans. So what a lot of students might do this year, hint, hint, is take out their loan and just start making principal payments because interest has been suspended through September, and I bet it will be suspended further, the interest payments on the loans. The loan payment years can be reduced. As always, if you have any questions, just let me know. Loan payments can be reduced to as low as 4 or 4.5 years. I can't tell which it is. Couldn't find that legislation with on-time payments to the Fed. So if you make your first 3-4 years of payments on time, maybe 1 or 2 late, you'll be able to get the rest of your loan forgiven, which is good. I mean, you can pay half that. We could have 20,000 or 18 or 16 or 15, whatever it is. You may not have to pay the last part.
Hi, Deacon Wilson.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello. Who's this?
This is Ariana.
Hi, Ariana. That's right. I said to say hello when you got there. That was a good one. You said it right away. I appreciate it. Good to see you. Good to have you here. Students have, I got to correct that. Students have the responsibility to find employment that can allow payment within 6 months of leaving college. I think students should pay as soon as they leave, start paying as soon as they leave college. All this talk about forgiveness of loans has nothing to do with students that are coming out this year, and nor do I think it will affect students the last 2 years. It would be supposedly the ones that have been around for years. You might be interested in knowing I'm not in favor of that. I don't think it's fair to you, number one, because you have to pay yours. But I have other reasons too. You can go to my video page and click on, what is that, Quinn, where it separates the loans by topic. Anyway, if you go to my video page, you'll see all the things I think about college loans, and you might be surprised at my opinion on them. Your number one goal while at college is to get a job and start a career. That is your number one goal in college. Now, some of these college professors, as you'll see next week on Sunday, I think it's coming up, maybe it's the week and after. Of course, their goal is to get you thinking the way they think. And we're going to talk about that. A lot of times they try to affect not just what you're going to think, but I want to affect how you think about it. And we'll talk about that. But your number one goal is to get a job and start your career. And this loan discussion really makes us remember that. The master's degree later, it's okay. I don't favor students being in school 6 and 7 straight years without working. Say, well, you can work and go for your master's. So master's degrees are very expensive. You're taking on another loan. Even if you had college covered and you had a Pell Grant, you're not going to have all loans for your master's. Now you have these student loans plus the master's loans, and then you haven't really started your career a lot of times. So think about that, your master's. I like to see companies paying for master's degrees. First of all, your company you work for. The second thing I like to see is when students take their master's, they know what their career is. They don't get a master's in something they never used. And it's way more expensive than the undergraduate loans, which is what we're talking about today. The loan repayment process starts. Let them in here. Give them credit. I missed them, the land base. They're coming in now. Both of them are here. Okay, the loan repayment process starts 6 months after graduation. You can defer once after another 6 months. So you can defer for 12 months, but I highly recommend against that. I recommend you start payments so that the loan doesn't grow on you. There are several repayment plans. They'll match it to what your income is, right? And it'll count as a completed payment toward dropping the rest of the loan. You just get a lower amount of payments, but they'll match them to you, the government, really well. There's several options when you go and do that at the end of your time in college. Please get a job first is what I recommend to start repaying your loan. I don't think you should plan a master's right away. 1 to 2 years of working and paying down your loan is wise. So to this, a lot of parents might say, well, I'll pay their loan for their master's. Well, I don't, you can, but you're sometimes talking about, 50, 100, 200,000 if it's a private school. I think students should pay for their master's degree. They should take the debt. That way they might wait a little bit till someone can pay for it. Do not get your undergraduate degree planning your master's for right after 4 years. You say, well, I'm going to get this. My plan is this, I'm going to get this undergraduate degree, then I'm going to get a master's, and I'm going to get a nice job because I'm going to have both. No, just plan a career first with your first degree, something you can go to work and do. Then you can get your master's degree later or on the side. Try not to see it as a 6-year process, and you'll hold down your indebtedness too. And you'll make a little money, get some things on your resume. You can plan for your job and potential career before a master's degree. Here are the current ways that you can actually reduce or forgive your student loans, or the government can forgive it. I should have wrote that differently, that's for sure. You could have one-time repayment for 4 or 5 years. I mentioned that a minute ago. Or the equivalent. You could have a late payment or two, but you catch up and you're okay. They'll always advise you on that. If you win the Peace Corps, Vista, or AmeriCorps, you can get loan forgiveness or a good portion of it forgiven. My daughter, for example, got a good portion of her loans forgiven because she went in the Peace Corps. She didn't get all of it, but she got a nice chunk of it forgiven. Military service, of course, you can get loan forgiveness. Teach for America, that's another organization where you can get a good amount of loan forgiveness. Federal employment, if you make a few payments, you may be able to get forgiveness on your depends on what type of federal employment, the duration of your federal employment. Sometimes you have to work a few years to get it, but you can get forgiveness of your student loans or a great chunk of your student loans. These are all very nuanced. Certain nonprofit work, you can get total forgiveness on your Perkins loan. It depends on the nonprofit work. It depends on when you do it, and sometimes depends on the status of the college you're in. How are they doing with defaulted loans? But you may be able to get forgiveness through your Perkins loans if you have a Perkins loan, which is a type of federal loan. Everybody won't have a Perkins loan, but everyone will have a student direct loan.
Hi, John.
Yes.
I just want to let you know that I'm here.
Who's that?
Mignon.
Mignon. Hi, Mignon.
Hi.
That's right. Just bust in. I don't care. I'm glad you're here. How to activate your direct loan. We talked about this last week. I'll run through it. It's studentloans.gov. You log in using your FOPSA username and password. Do the loan counseling first. So you should allow yourself an hour to do the loan counseling. And I don't think you can stop and come back to loan counseling in the middle. Unfortunately, you've got to do it in one sitting, and it's a little tedious. If you have trouble, just let me know. I've been known to people having trouble with that, just go in there and finish it for them. But it's advising you about information about your loans. It's important for you, the student, to know all about your loan. This prevents default on your loans. Create direct loan promissory note. You do that. Carefully follow the screen. That only takes about 15 or 20 minutes. Some colleges freeze your enrollment if you don't set up your direct loan. See, this is June, so a lot of colleges begin to get nervous at the end of June if they don't see you authorizing the student direct loan. They might, send you early bills because they're scared they're not going to be paid for the move into your dorm and some other early expenses they're going to have. Particularly public universities will start to get antsy and wonder when you're going to activate your loans. Some private schools, they won't say anything to you at all. You just do it when you do it, and then they just keep billing you till you do it. When you do it, they'll credit your bill. But public universities tend to hold things up, not want to let you register. So you want to get the student loan resolved, get that loan activated. All right. Let's talk about college. I'm going to tell you how we can help them finish college in no more than 4 years. Let's do some college completion facts. Facts that surprise me, or might surprise you. I'll put them up here. Only 52% of youth who started college in 2017 will finish by June 2022. Now, I haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure the pandemic didn't help things. A lot of students just don't learn well online. A lot of students took the year off. Some students left school and have not returned. I know some like that have left school and gone to your college or go to work, because the economy is such that you can find jobs so easy. But only half of all students are finishing college right now. And 46% of middle class youth finish in that period. Used to be 44, it's 46 now. That's a shockingly low number. The reason why it's so low is that there are a lot of issues with affordability with middle class youth that poor youth do not have. On our program, 85% of the youth who attended 60% of our college prep sessions will have finished college. That's what's turning out. You want to attend these college life prep sessions. They will really help you to, finish college. Taking, like today, for example, covering career, if you attend college with a sense of where it fits into your career objectives or how you're going to use it to get your career, I think you're going to be more motivated. And it's going to take a lot more than adversity to stop, a little bit of adversity to stop it, or just even some adversity, because you're going to have adversity. I mean, who was that? I think it was it was Lincoln, I believe, that lost like 5 elections for something before he became president. Sometimes life isn't always just getting forward. Sometimes it's a few steps forward and then a few steps backwards after all. Taking GE classes in the summer is hugely important. Use the 2-year college for college credits while you're in college. We talked about that last week. And summer work and go to 2-year college. What a good practice for your life in college. You can work and go to college. I mean, I don't think you'll have to work your first semester or two, but sooner or later, that's going to be the pattern you're going to have. You just can't let the summers go by without getting some credits. That will save you a lot of money and reduce the risk of not completing college. You're lightening your load in the case of certain places like engineering degrees and things like that. You're really lightening your load substantially by doing that. I'm sure I wouldn't have got through engineering school if I didn't do anything in the summer. Academic, what are the common reasons for college stop out on our program? Well, academic performance, it remains to be a challenge. Weakness in math or writing continues at the same level in college. I mean, if you're weak in math and or writing, when you get to college, it isn't going to change unless you intervene this summer and take care of that. We've already told you that we have a college biology class. I have a calculus class this summer, an enrichment class. They're only 3-week classes that will strengthen your math and keep you sharp. I think you might want to think about that, or just go to 2-year college, take the placement test and take a math course if you want to strengthen your math and get stronger. I'd hate to see you waste the summer, then go to school and you have to take a math class. If you're in CSU especially, they're going to expect you to finish your math in that first year. Writing also, if your writing is not all that great and you want to improve it, just that it could be better, right? It doesn't have to be this bad. If that continues at that level, you're going to struggle in college. Failure to meet the first year requirements for academic scholarship. Yeah, if you can be successful as a student, but your GPA isn't high enough for you to keep your scholarship, and now you can't return to school. That's a common reason for stop out on our program. That's why I told you when you get your scholarships, I told you earlier, look at the requirements there are to keep the scholarship and ask yourself, because remember, you could have a good year in college, but not keep your scholarship. you can be 3.2, 3.1, and you're not 3.5 or whatever they ask. Most scholarships are going to be 2.5 or 3.0. But sometimes you get ones, I've seen it a lot at Black schools, that merit award has a really high GPA on it. Change of coaches. If you're an athlete, sometimes that a loss of scholarships when you change coaches. But usually the team is divided about staying or leaving, teams cut in half, when a coach leaves. And the student realizes that playing is his or her identity on that campus. So they don't have the team, they leave the campus. And that's a big cause to stop out with my athletes. I don't think I have any athletes in here today, but I got some on the program. Personal family reasons, bereavement, sudden bereavement, moving to another city, disagreement with college policies. But sometimes there's a disagreement with policies in your family or with you with the college policies, and that causes students to stop out of college sometimes. This is kind of related to what we'll talk about on a week from today, I believe. I think it's the weekend, 2 weeks from today. I'm going to talk about, campus ideology and some of the crazy things that professors try to teach you and policies that colleges might have that may be disagreeable with your family values. Misplaced activism. You're too busy with activist causes, and that causes you to get behind your studies. And the tricky thing of that is usually encouraged by by a or many powerful and persuasive faculty members. Remember, college professors are very persuasive, very powerful individuals. They have a tremendous effect on the forming of your opinions. If you let them, they can make you misplace your activism. You're spending time on their causes. I can remember about 4 years ago, I had students that, comes up a lot on my program. 4 years ago, I had students that laid out on the Oakland Bay Bridge and blocked traffic for 5 hours. And sooner or later, the CHP came in and arrested them. Lo and behold, 2 of my students were arrested. They were Sonoma State students. And here's the thing about it. Sonoma State put them both out of school, right? So be careful of misplaced activism. I've had building takeovers on school campuses. My students were caught up in that. And it's not a pleasant thing. You lose a semester a lot of times and you have to appeal to come back to the school. And let's just get our degree and we could become activists after we get our degree. How's that? Let's see. All right, here's some career problems that we're seeing with current students that are coming up here. Let me see if I can. Here we go. Too many STEM majors change due to a lack of academic success. Yeah, I want to see more of our students have STEM majors. And we're doing a lot right now to help them get through it, like in our summer program, prep classes, what I told you about I told all my pre-med majors who are STEM, science. STEM means science, technology, engineering, and math, by the way. Need to be aware of major changes. So my pre-med majors typically will change that major after the first semester or second semester, and usually the cause of it is the biology class. The biology class in college is nothing like the biology class in high school. I highly recommend that you take biology at a 2-year college this summer, or take my college biology prep class to get ready to take that class, because it will discourage you if you don't pass it. And you have to take an alternate path, and sometimes it discourages students. Now, if I know you and you still want to do it, I'll encourage you, so call me up. I want to see you can do it a lot of different ways. You'll see some alternate ways in a minute that you can become a doctor or have a medical career, but certainly if you don't pass biology and even chemistry. So you really want to make some moves before you get to school to really be strong in those. I picked out biology here as a STEM major, but it applies to engineering also. Even in engineering, I think it's important that there's good math skills. So you got to try to take pre-calc and calculus, those kind of classes in the summer. Again, I have prep classes and all those. Common STEM majors that change. What are the common ones that change? Health sciences, engineering, kinesiology, sports medicine. People take sports medicine, sounds exciting, but there's a lot of science in it, a lot. Chemistry and biology and biochemistry. It's almost close to becoming a doctor, certainly like a nurse. Psychology, physical science, because people aren't going to let you touch their athletes if you don't have a lot of learning and a lot of theoretical and other training. Physical sciences, computer science, animal science, these are all STEM majors that students end up changing sometimes when they hit the subjects that are difficult. But that's why I think that, you should see it coming. Don't give up on these majors. I'm not saying give up on them, but get yourself stronger in those majors. I spoke to a young lady today. We had an open house for our programs at West Angeles, and she wants to be an anesthesiologist, and she's not doing too well in her sciences. But I told her you can still be an anesthesiologist for sure. You're just going to have to do some things to get yourself stronger in those areas. Of course, I suggested she highly consider our summer program, or just taking classes at two-year college. I think I mentioned that too. So why does it happen? They're academically challenging. Talked about that. STEM majors are sometimes picked by parents and relatives who mean well, but maybe they don't know you. It doesn't mean it's not going to work out. You have to do the work, but it could be there's something else for you. Now, I'll talk about non-STEM majors a lot today. There was not enough academic preparation. Maybe your high school just didn't prepare you properly, especially since we had the pandemic for 2 years there. And I don't know how people learn math. I just think math would have been the biggest challenge during that period. And lo and behold, you need math to do a STEM major. Here's another way of looking at these problems I'm seeing with career starts. Very common proper assumptions. Here's some improper assumptions that are made. I talked about STEM a minute ago. Pre-med students must major in biology or chemistry. Nope. I'll talk about that today. You don't have to major in biology or chemistry to be a pre-med student or go to medical school. You don't have to. Some schools make you do a BS in biology and chemistry, and that's unfortunate. And I'm going to show you a different way that you could do it even there. Sports medicine and kinesiology is not a lot of science. People think it's not a lot of science and math. Not true. It is a lot of science and math. Major in psychology is the only way to counsel. Nope, not true. If your goal is to counsel people, there's other ways to it. Actually, I'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, if you want to become a certain kinds of counseling, get deeper into it, you want to work out of a public clinic in the state of California, you'll need to get a master's degree. But there's a lot of counseling being done in private organizations. And the private organizations that will pay for your master's. So maybe you're going to catch on with them first. A nursing career requires a BS in nursing. Nope, no, it doesn't. I'll talk about that today too. Careers in journalism require a journalism degree. Nope, certainly not true today. Really, it's a media. Most people aren't using the term journalism anymore. Some schools still do, but it's media now because a lot of news is online, and it probably requires some kind of communication degree for sure, but it doesn't strictly require a journalism degree. Careers in architecture require a 4-year architecture degree. Nope, not true. You're going to have to go to architecture school to become an architect anyway. So you want to pick a major like city planning or civil engineering or something that relates to it, and maybe even some other degree, mathematics, I don't know, some other degree where you can take and pass the architectural test. Careers in education require an education degree. Actually, no. They require a credential for sure, but you don't have to major in education to teach. You probably do better to get good in the subject and then get a credential. We'll talk about that a little bit too. Pre-law must do a major in political science. Nope. You can go into law school with any major. I recommend a major where you can get a job, where you can parlay it into some kind of career success. Developing your career while in college. Here's some college experiences on the campus that will help you. And again, we have a copy of this presentation. I know I'm going through it at a fairly decent pace, but you're going to have a copy of the presentation. You can click on it in the chat. It'll work for you. Then you can download it to your computer. And of course, if you couldn't get the copy that way, just email one of my assistants or me, and I'll be glad to send you a copy of the presentation. Campus leadership training programs. Campus leadership training is funded usually by the state and federal government, and they're very underutilized programs. I talk to campus leadership people all the time. Typically, they'll have 100 or 200 spots at a school for the training. And it's great for your resume. And a lot of time, colleges pick the students who get on program board and run things on campus where they can get tuition paid. They take the leaders from leadership training, the students that come out of leadership training first, because they've been trained by the school. They regularly tell me they're only 1/3 full, 1/2 full. You should seek out the campus leadership and training programs. That's a possibility. These are all possibilities. Just trying to stimulate your thinking. This is a presentation, again, like all 5 of these college life prep ones, that you want to keep these presentations handy. Some of my students told me they took them in their bags to school and they would consult them at times. It's helpful, some of the stuff I have in these view graphs. We're going to have a lot of it online too. I think we're working on that. Career, what we're going to have, we certainly have the videos, so I can go back and look at any video. Career services, networking, and resume writing. That's something you want to do while you're in college. There's some things you can network and be at events and meet people. And you can learn from the school how to write a resume. They'll show you. Studying abroad is a good experience that will help you to develop what you like to do in your career. I had a student come back, or some student at USF, go away just for 4 weeks. Was going away for 4 weeks, and while she's there, she's figured out what her major should be, what she wants to do in her life, what they have her working on. That can happen when you study abroad. You learn a lot about yourself and by going across to another country or going across the world, around the world somewhere. Campus service learning, just regular old volunteering. In high school, you were volunteering. So now you do it in college, but also have that there because sometimes on college campuses, they have you volunteering to work in high schools. And that's a good experience to help you to develop your skills and to find more about what you're here to do. Working in campus offices, the best is the admissions office, but all on-campus work is effective. Consistent, stable work of any kind while you're in college. Of course, I recommend the second semester you look for work. Get settled in first, but any kind of work is going to be helpful. Some students should wait the whole year and not even work till their second year. That's depends on how things are rolling for us. If it's rolling well for you, you're meeting people, you're getting used to the campus and settled in, no problem not working the first year. But when you do find that consistent and stable work, it's helpful to your resume, but also to you for your stability. Working in the college program office on events, they call them program office, event office, whatever. There's major events on the campus. Maybe you should volunteer to help for those and get your name out in front of teachers and some of the professors and leaders of those programs, so they'll call for you in the next program they have. What a great thing to have on your resume. Here are some good questions to ask. Again, if you have any questions, please advise me. Here are some good questions to ask when considering certain majors. What jobs would you like to have? What career would you like to have? There's a difference, you know. For psychology majors, would you like to help people? Meaning you have patients. Some people think that's the only use for a psychology degree. Not true. Would you like to research it? See, it's research. Or would you like to apply it to life, a job, or your career? That's called applied psychology. A lot of companies are hiring students with bachelors of arts degrees in psychology to work with their strategic planning and their HR. So applied psychology is a growing field. It's not just, doesn't mean you get a psychology major, you have to see patients. But it could be that you just get a BA in psychology. We'll talk about BA in psychology in a minute. And just to applied psychology. For pre-med majors, did you really mean health science? A lot of times it's maybe not to be a doctor, but it's maybe health science that you really want to major in. Understand the job trends in the health field. There are and will be many unfilled jobs other than doctor and nurse. Okay? The truth. The traditional medical doctor job is changing. Well, you should look it up. It really is changing because doctors aren't able to have their single independent office anymore as much because of all the insurance and liability costs that they can't afford. So they got to work out of HMOs and PPOs and group practices. So that's really changing. And that we found out that it's also changing because since they work for a company, they have to do what the company says. And sometimes their autonomy with patients is a question. I've talked to a couple of my students who just became doctors have told me about this. So the doctor profession is changing. Some people believe the executive and lead nurses and other professionals in medicine are going to be more and more important to patient care in coming years. Research what's happening. You might want to do that. Google it and kind of see about that. It's very interesting. Other good questions to ask for engineering. What jobs are you thinking about? What made you think about engineering? Did you mean that you like to or are curious about fixing things? I know I was when I became an engineer. What about computers and programming? So a lot of people are not wanting to fix things, but they're good at programming. Maybe they should be a software engineer. I don't know. For film and videography, what films have you made? I always say, if you want to go into film and videography, go do film. You can do YouTube, podcasting, your cell phone, Facebook Live, etc. I never thought I would be a producing films, but I'm doing videos and films all the time now. In fact, we're going to double down and I do a lot more videotaping and filming. For nursing, go be a nurse. Get your CNA, your certified nursing assistant, and see how you feel about it. You can get that in a summer and a few other, maybe a summer or two, you can have your CNA and you can start seeing patients in the next summer or the same summer you get it. Or when you go back to school, you can be a CNA. Maybe you can volunteer at your school's health facility. These are all things you can do without a BS degree in nursing because there's such a shortage in CNA and LVN. We'll talk about both of those a little later. Then I said for blank studies, like if you want to do, women's studies, Latin studies, Black studies, African studies, any kind of studies of an ethnic group, you really have to ask, what job are you wanting to have? Don't just feel like you're getting a degree just to study. Remember, you got to have functional degrees. In fact, Howard University shocked the world by dropping their Black studies major. You can study Black studies at Howard. I think you can be a minor in it, but you can't major in it anymore because they had too many students that were majoring in it and not able to find jobs. What job are you wanting to have? How can I, or if the jobs they found, they couldn't make any money. How can I apply this to a career? Can I apply it to a career? I think these are all legitimate questions for studies majors. I put blank because it could be a lot of things there. Okay. Here's an example of an experience-based career start with nursing. Understand that a four-year nursing degree, the four-year nursing degree problem. Let me see if I can quickly describe the problem. The problem is you enter a four-year school. In the first 2 years, you take the prerequisites, and then you apply for the last 2 years to be in the nursing program. And usually only 20 to 25% of students make it in the nursing program. And at that point, a lot of them just quit trying to think about being a nurse. And I don't want to see that. I don't want to see STEM majors and nurses, in this case, nurses, to stop their careers when there's such a shortage and they do so well financially in their careers. But it discourages people when they can't get into their nursing program. So they wait a year and they try again, and they still can't get in because it's so competitive. I have some that have done it that way, but I'll show you the other way my students are becoming nurses in a minute. Getting in a third-year nursing program is a minor miracle sometimes. It's very difficult. Even though they're trying to get more minorities in, it's still very hard because of all the intensive science and math and that you have to do. Those are not easy classes. High GPA, not just a good GPA. A high GPA is needed in biology, chemistry, and calculus without a lot of nurturing and help. Okay? So how did you do in these in high school? Remember earlier I said, if you want to be a nurse or be in medicine, don't give up, but do some things now to make yourself stronger in these areas. And I recommend the classes we have, or you can take a 2-year college biology class and see how you do. You can audit it. You can get it without a grade and work hard in the class just to get a feel for what a college biology class professor is going to expect from you. Same with chemistry. Understand the other pathways to becoming a nurse. Think out of the box. Charles Drew has a 3-year nursing program. It's heavy in nurture. So you can go to the 3-year program, you're an RN. How you like that? Or go be a nurse. Take the CNA, our partners H&R Healthcare, or a 2-year college. You can go there and get a CNA for 2 summers, then get a job at the bottom and work your way up. Meanwhile, you're in 4-year school. We'll talk about that in a minute. Getting a degree, and that's appropriate. And now you have your degree and you're already in the nursing profession. What do you think your resume is going to look like? So while getting your 4-year degree. Here's the way most people think is the only way, I put best in question mark, to a nursing career. High school student comes out and is a 4-year college pre-nursing major, graduates with a BS as an RN, registered nurse, take the RN licensing examination, and start their nursing career. This is the path I described a minute ago, and usually this point right here is where the problems can occur, because it's hard for them to get into the BS RN program to graduate. They get cut off here somewhere. And now they feel there's nothing else they can do. That's because they didn't hear this session today. I don't know if anybody's going to do nursing, but maybe somebody here in this video will see it. Okay, there it is. The year 2, you do the application for the 4-year BS RN degree. Okay. How about a parallel career path approach, where you get your CNA first, 2-year college or 2 summers, from H&R Healthcare from a 2-year, you can do a 2-year college, or H&R Healthcare, which is a private partner of ours in Westchester over there near the airport. Then you can take your LVN. It's just a test. It's a state licensing test, and you can become a nurse. And the hospital will help you to pass the test to become an RN, okay? Because it takes the test as well, as you'll see in a minute. Hospitals are motivated to do that because their insurance providers are pushing them. And these nurses are getting a lot of experience. This right here could be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And everybody knows that nurses who've worked hospitals for 4, 5, 6, first of all, they're well paid, working 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 years, are going to have way more ability to be a successful RN than those just coming out of college. So here's another approach in parallel. 3-year nursing, CD at Charles Drew University, that is. They're our partners too. Or a 4-year degree in health science. How about that? So you're getting your degree in parallel with this. That's what we call a parallel career path. You're going to get your degree in parallel with this. 4-year degree in health science or a 3-year degree in CDU. Then you can take the state licensing test and you can become an RN that way too. So I want you to look at the pathway to become a nurse as not just restrictive, like the path I showed you a minute ago over here. It's not so restrictive as that, okay? Not at all. You take away the risk of not becoming a nurse when you take this approach. I wish I could talk to every nursing student and show them this. But that's true with other career paths too, as you'll see in a minute. That people think it's linear. You go to college, you get your degree, then you go to work. Some parents will say, oh, there's also internships. Yeah, I'm sure. But there's a lot, but those are okay too. They get you experience. But sometimes it's not always the only way to get that to happen in parallel. Filmmaking is another good example. Becoming a filmmaker has nothing to do with the degree, really. It happens in stages. If you want to make films, make them. I mentioned that a minute ago. You can make video podcasting, you can YouTube, you can do websites, you can post things, you can publish on your own. You can do it for nonprofits or even your family. You can learn how to edit. You can go online and learn how to edit videos and create short subjects. And with all the tools we have available online for free, you can start making film. You should have an extensive YouTube channel at least to be able to show prospective employers. Or either just things you videotaped in nature that are on your YouTube. It doesn't have to be you being the star all the time. I have to do it on mine because I'm teaching and training, but you don't have to. Okay, how to learn affordably in school. Well, two-year colleges like LA City College and West LA College have really great great programs for videography and film to get an AA degree. And these schools received large infusions of capital from people like George Lucas and Herb Albert and others have given lots of money to these schools for the performing arts and video. So I wish you would look into some of those. And it may not mean you're going to go only to that college. You do that while you're in four-year college. You can do it in the summer, maybe even start this summer. So film is something you can start before you get your degree. The following are not careers, despite what society says and your teachers in high school are telling you. These are not careers. And if you approach them this way, you're just not going to be successful financially early in your career. Social justice and activism is a noble cause, but it's not really a career. It's really a thought or a belief or something you'll do as a volunteer, perhaps. Don't think of it as a job you'll have, because a lot more schools are having social justice degrees. They're naming them that now. And I really think that that's like the studies degrees I told you before. You're going to need some augmentation of that degree for sure to make sure you get a great career. The next thing that's not a career is your dreams and passions. I want you to keep your passions and your dreams. For me, a passion of mine is history. I simply love history, you guys, but it's not putting any food on the table for me. It's something that's a passion. But some of you have passions that have more of a direct effect on your success. I don't want you to give up your musical instrument, for example. I don't necessarily want you to forget about sports forever. You can do intramural and be a leader of your intramural team. You can do things to keep your passion alive, but they're not your career. Okay, passions are not careers. Don't think you got to major in your passion. A lot of people feel you should fulfill your passions. I think you should, but it has a different role than starting your career and making some money. It really does. And there are those who believe that making money isn't all that important. Well, I certainly don't believe that. I think it's important. I don't think it's the only thing, but I think it's very important. Career and jobs are stepping stones. There might be stepping stones, your career, your dreams and passions, right? Bring your passion with you and whatever you want. Just keep your passions, things you like to do all your life. That makes your life more exciting and more interesting. You can keep those all the way. This is also not, being famous is not a career. People who are like, what they call them, Instagram influencers, I don't know what they call it, I guess. People who are Twitter and Facebook influencers and have all these followings, they're not careers. People who do significant, listen to this, people who do significant things are often not famous. Being famous is not being significant or successful, it's just being famous. People who are famous are often not doing significant things. I want you to remember that. People who are famous are often not doing significant things. Entrepreneur, you want to be an entrepreneur? It's not a career. It's again an interest, and you have to take the stepping stones to get to it. Like if you want to run a major company, you're not going to come out of college and run a major company. I actually have a parent that's telling me that about their student from last year, and I'm very nice to them, but I know that that's not true. They have to start at the bottom of any company and work their way up. All the successful CEOs work their way up in their companies. And then they became great entrepreneurs and started other companies. It doesn't happen overnight. So just saying I'm being an entrepreneur may not be a career right away. Right away anyway, it could become one, right? So I see a lot of schools have majors in entrepreneur, but it depends on how they present it. They could present it as, hey, here's some things you can be doing to get started in your career. That's fine. But to pretend that right away you're going to be able to support yourself, it's probably not right. What are some top STEM career categories in science, technology, engineering, and math? Engineering, that's no problem. Health science, applied math, biological and chemical research, energy, and environmental science. Then, of course, there's accounting and finance, which I count as a technology, the way those have moved somewhere between math and technology. I don't know, especially finance and accounting. I don't think business administration should be there, and it's not. And even marketing is a business major. It should not be there. Those tend to be BA degrees in marketing anyway. But certainly your accounting and your finance, a lot of schools count it as a BS degree for that region. So these are the top STEM career categories. Again, I want to give you ideas for people who are undecided what things to pursue thinking about it. So engineering, that means computer science, programming, coding, IT, computer design, game design, you see those there. So I include programming in there. Electrical engineering, radar defense, reliability, maintainability, systems engineering management, circuit digital electronics, system design, biomedical engineering, et cetera. Those are all options typically of electrical engineering as careers. You'll see them also often as options in your engineering degree too, the electrical engineering degree. I was an electrical engineer and I was computer science. I ended up being a reliability engineer. Mechanical engineering is fluid and water system design, machine and motor design, maintenance, space and rockets. SpaceX announced they're going to hire about 250 to 300 engineers for their Moon and Mars projects. They're behind in hiring. So that's going to be hot. Private space is going to be hot in the next 10 years. I think they'll probably make it to Mars before NASA. I think that it's going to be a private company getting to Mars first. And you are the generation that will live on Mars. A lot of you won't live on Mars, but I think your generation will live on Mars. I don't know, we might be around to see it, I don't know. But I think it's going to be for you all to live there and cut a future on Mars if we're going to go there. Airplane design, nanotechnology control, these are all mechanical engineering. Civil engineering, city planning, building design, construction management oversight, large structure designs are examples of civil engineering, okay? Then chemical engineering and material engineering, material design, space and aeronautical engineering, nanotechnology, et cetera, all part of chemical engineering, okay? But that's engineering for you in a nutshell. But then we have health science. Don't forget, everybody's not going to be a doctor. Radiology, medical assistant, gerontology, and any of these you can go for while you're going for your 4-year degree. You can be learning how to do these very, very inexpensively at our 2-year college system or at a very inexpensive private type professional school. I can give you references for all these. A counselor, physical therapist, software coding, pharmacy assistant, dental hygienist, respiratory therapist, and phlebotomist. I included counselor, but I should have said counseling. You know, remember I mentioned you can get into counseling with certifications without going to medical school. In the state of California, you just have to get it from a 2-year college, your certification to be a drug counselor, for example. And in churches, you can go to their training programs. A lot of them want you to get a certification and you have a 4-year degree in psychology. You can start doing some ministerial counseling too, very easily. Most theology degrees include a heavy component in counseling. Oh, surgical technologists, I forgot about that, okay? These are all medical and health science related degrees without medical or nursing school that you can get while you're going for your 4-year degree. Some people just do these period and have pretty great careers, then they go back to school later. But in this case, we're talking about if you're going for your 4-year degree, you can't really major in these, but you can certainly get certifications to start working in these while you're in college. How about this is what I talked about earlier. You don't want to go into STEM, no problem. Let's talk about the most functional and versatile non-STEM majors. So they're going to be BA degrees, right? The BA in Communication Studies, the BA in Business Administration, the BA in Marketing, the BA in Liberal Studies with a credential, the BA in Biology, the BA in Chemistry, the BA in Psychology. There are others too. I mean, you can BA in Child Development, for example. I believe that's Christina. What's your major?
BS in child development.
Oh, yes, BS at that school. That's right. Good point. And I think Quinn's a communications major, right?
Yep.
True. Yeah, you know, of course, Bailey was women's studies biology, but I'm focusing on BA degrees here, but just want to give you an idea. So actually, the BA degree is very effective. I think that the job growth in these areas is going to be pretty good the way the economy is. Let me show you how you can think about it, okay? Here's a good way to think about BA degrees, okay? And how they relate to career. To me, just showing this view graph isn't helping anybody. I think this will help a lot more. So here's communications, biology, chemistry, business administration. I say BA in sociology, not social work. Social work, you're pretty much programmed to do work for the state or the county in social work, right? We're talking about work for private companies here, but there's a lot of money to be made. Business marketing, psychology, and BA in liberal arts general studies with a credential. Let's see what these lead to. Let's take the BA in biology and chemistry first, and that can lead to a teacher or a counselor. Some people want to teach those subjects with that BA degree, especially if they get the credential. If you go to CSU, you can get the credential while you're there. Okay, let's look at sociology and psychology, drug counseling, marriage and family counseling, nonprofit education and colleges. So I think a lot of people work for major colleges and universities. They work in administrative offices. This is that applied psychology I told you about, applied sociology. But some of them go into drug counseling and family counseling. You can get a certification in this state, work for a private or a church, and get to start learning how to work with patients. And you frequently update your credential. Here's some jobs in general that these types of majors on my program have gotten. Nonprofit office management, social media director. Social media is a great skill to have. Public relations, communications director, assistant marketing director, human resources and strategic planning. And over here, the BA in liberal arts also can become a teacher and counselor, right? Then over here, you have researcher, pharmacist, health science. Even the BA degree person can change their mind and get into research and pharmacy work and maybe go back to school at night to go to pharmacy school. And even health science, they can take courses at night, get into health science coming out of that BA in biology and chemistry. I've seen all these, every one of these here I have examples with students that they have done these things. This is how I see with these non-STEM degrees, you could do quite a bit to start a career. I hope that clarifies for most of you.
Hey, Deacon.
Yeah, go ahead.
There are a couple questions in the chat. I don't know if
let's
you
go.
looked at them.
Why don't you repeat them to me?
Okay, so I'm not sure if this one has been answered, but one followed it. So the difference between the BA and the BS, and then can you switch from a BA to a BS at some point in time?
Okay, let's start with the difference between the BA and BS. Typically, it's the math and the science, but not always. You have a little more. For example, a BA in psychology is not going to have to take, let me turn this. A BA in psychology is not going to have to take 3 or 4 statistics classes, or even sometimes they even have to take calculus. They're going to take only what they need to get that the BA degree. So it's less science and math. You might argue, well, if they want to go back for a master's, they need the science. Well, they can take those classes then if they want to go back for a master's. But they get a BS degree. Certainly they won't have to worry about the science and math classes getting their master's degree. Let's see. So BA and BS, the difference is science and math. Then that next question was, can you switch from a BA to BA? Can you start off with BA and go to B? Yes, but it typically will take you another semester to finish. Typically, you're going to quickly add a semester because you're going to have the science and math you need to take. BS to BA is a wash, right? You can easily do that, right? I hope that answered that question. If it didn't, just follow it up. Good job, Bailey. Watch that chat for me, guys. I don't have my eyes on it at all. Okay. And of course, you can raise your hand too. I may not see that either. So help me out, everybody. I have a little damage to my screen where I'm not going to be able to see that. Unfortunately, my monitor got knocked off last night. I'll let you guess how that happened. What careers do my 2018 to 2021 BA degree students have? Nonprofit administrative and leadership, local government and feds, entrepreneurship, I'll just say it that way. They're working in the area for companies that are starting businesses. There's actually private companies that help people start businesses. That's what I mean by that, entrepreneurship. I don't mean they're starting major companies. office assistants at large firms, college academia, that's a big one. Education, some of them go on to teach in middle school and high school, sometimes elementary school. Marketing, social media, websites, etc. A lot of students get into that. They parlay their knowledge of social media into marketing for companies. I do a lot of it on my program. My workers are mostly Quinn and Asia do a lot of work with social media, websites, all that kind of stuff. So, well, one way or another. Research assistant, I see that a lot. Health services, okay? And then enrichment services, that'd be companies like me. A lot of them will take students right out of college and they'll start their career there. I'm not the only one that does that. It's a good stepping stone to start one's career, to go to places like that and work with other people. Whenever you can work with people and work with helping people, it's going to help you to develop your career in one way, and it really will. When you feel you're part of something big and part of something that's doing something for other people, it actually helps you start your career. So these are the kind of careers for them. Here's some things I suggest you do. Get office skills while you're in college. Excel, PowerPoint, and Word. Everybody should really be moving quickly toward knowing how to use Excel, PowerPoint, and Word. The sooner the better. The ways online to learn it, I think if you Google it, they were required by the government to put websites online that help you to learn those. Now here they're pretty good. Online, you need to do typing enhancement. Work on your typing. Basic website development skills. I think everybody who graduates, maybe by their second year of college, should know how to set up a website. To just be able to do that is a great skill to have. It really is. It's something I think you should aspire to actually. Become fluent in strategic foreign languages like Spanish and Mandarin and Arabic. These are great for, Arabic is great for federal law enforcement, but Spanish and Mandarin obviously are important for other Spanish because that's important in our country here now. And Mandarin because it's basically where all the business in China is done. And China is the #1 business market in the world right now, whether we like it or not. It'll be interesting to see how our country and China work that out in terms of their relationship. Spanish fluency is big time if you can get Spanish fluent. And you're young enough to do that, to get Spanish fluent. Maybe you'll do it when you're in college. It's a good time to think about it. Certification programs is something you can do. I mentioned it already. Videography, counseling, I mentioned all these, right? All these are mentioned as, well, cosmetology is new on the list. Medical office administration, dental tech, air conditioning repair. These are all certification programs. Like if you're going to be a mechanical engineer, what better way to earn extra money than doing air conditioning repair? You can learn a lot about mechanical devices, mechanical engineering doing that. And it makes a lot of money in this part of the country, especially. There's a shortage in a lot of things right now. There's always been a shortage in air conditioning workers. Here's the easiest and most cost-effective pathway to becoming a doctor. Get your undergraduate BA degree, okay? I recommend it be a BA degree in health science. CSU loves the health science degree, BA in biology and chemistry. Remember, you're going to become a doctor. Get a full-time job while you're working. When you get out of college, you go post-baccalaureate, get your extra classes. If your GPA is reduced, it's an optional step. If it's not, if you got the BA, you probably do have to take some classes. Parallel health certifications, get yourself some certifications. That would be good. Take and pass the MCAT and medical school entry, but be open-minded about your college list. I don't like it when I hear doctors are owing $200,000 and $300,000 before they even see a patient. There are ways to get that medical degree for far less now. I think I put a view graph up before about one doctor in my program, one student in my program. These two students work for Cedars-Sinai, and one it took $411,000, and the other one took $80,000 to become a doctor. It's quite dramatic, actually. Okay. Here's the best way most people think is the only way to become. Here's the way most people think is only. And we talked about that with nurses, right? So there's one like that with doctors. High school student, get a 4-year college, you get a BS degree in biology. You take these classes that are needed here, biology lab, biology in lab 2, biochemistry, chemistry lab, organic. You take those classes. You have BS degree in biology. You take the MCAT examination, and you apply to medical school and become a practicing MD. So it takes a little while, to pass the MCAT and get ready. Then you go to medical. This is a traditional way everybody pretty much thinks about it, okay? Let me challenge you with another way to think about it. Look, I put MD for animals and people. It's actually the same for both. Veterinarian and regular doctor is the same. I just thought it'd be cool to put animals and people. You go to 4-year to college and get related BA degrees. BA in chemistry, BA in biology, BA in psychology, BA in BS in public health, health science, anything like that, right? You get that BS in public health, health science. You take biology, the same classes as before, but here you have related work. You can now start working while you're in college. You can work in a clinic or do something. MCAT prep, and you go to medical school, become a practicing MD, all right? Look here, you can do related work in these fields after you graduate, right? But before you go to medical school. Some of my students have taken 1 to 3 years, up to 3 years of a gap, but they're getting things on their resume. They're getting to know what part of being a doctor they want to do. They're gaining confidence. And usually that's while they're taking classes that they didn't get before they'll need to pass the MCAT. And then they can go to medical school. Here's some other desired careers that require a parallel path. Liberal arts degrees in ethnic and gender studies, African studies, other studies, etc. I think you should get a teaching certificate. You could get a teaching certification. You could get some business administration courses and certifications, right? Learn accounting or something to go along with those, because these are not going to be enough for you to build a successful, long and lucrative, financially lucrative career. Nonprofit for volunteering, do something to augment right away. If you see you're going to major in those, to augment your resume. A lot of times students will change to one of these, ethnic or gender studies, etc. But you start doing things to help you. If you're working like for a nonprofit when you come out of school, that's a great move. It's a great thing to put on your resume. And you can take the other classes you need to. Seek 2-year college certifications. That is absolutely huge. I recommend that highly. Certifications to make yourself more marketable and you'll know more. I would say that that's a possibility. You wouldn't have to, but it's a great possibility. Other related non-nursing health science fields. Nutrition science, gerontology, which is working with the elderly, that's going to be huge. Because at some point here, the elderly population will be super high, and there'll be a lot of younger and middle-aged people helping those people who are older. Namely me, I'll be in that group. Radiology, health promotion, public policy, disease control specialist, dental technician assistant, or health administration. Again, seek your certifications and think about Charles Drew University. They can be very helpful at this time, also in the summers. Firefighting is a good one. Getting a degree to be a firefighter is smart, but I think you should, because it turns out if you have a degree and you go into firefighting, you make way more money and you're on a path to management right away. Fitness training, fire science courses from 2-year college or CSULA, ride-alongs, EMT, apply for the fire academy. These are all things that can be done to enhance a fire career. I don't know if anybody's doing that. Maybe somebody in the video will. Law enforcement, kind of the same thing. Law enforcement looks about the same, right? You get your BA in so a lot of policemen have their degrees in sociology and criminology, but you don't have to. They just want a 4-year degree. I think flat out now they say they want a 4-year degree. Fitness training for 1 year, enforcement courses from 2-year college, blah, blah, blah. CSULA has those. Security guard, ride-alongs, apply for the police academy, other town police departments, federal police, FBI, CIA Customs, high school police, do I say there? Huh? It's interesting I have that. Customs, and they need minorities big time in law enforcement because of all the negative publicity that law enforcement has gotten in the cries for defunding. It's scared a lot of students away from it, but it's a good career if you want to really have a positive impact. But you gotta have a degree to go anywhere nowadays. Forensic science, a lot of people used to want to do that. I think a BA in chemistry or biology, plus you're going to have to go to police academy to do forensic science. I don't know if you knew that for a police department, you got to still go to the academy. Okay. Therapists, you need a BS, and that's the thing. If you want to be a therapist, you're going to be a BS in psychology plus a master's. If you want to counsel students, counsel people, you can still do it in a private environment with one of those undergraduate degrees plus state certifications. And of course, I mentioned that here so these people who want to go to get their master's can get their certifications early and start working to be able to pay for the master's. Human services, sociology, theology, et cetera, et cetera. Filmmaking we talked about already. You know what that takes. Start making your films, et cetera. Here's some professional parallel skills and training options. You got website and app development, social media, advertising, and coding. Man, you can definitely learn how to do these while you're in. You can learn how to do these this summer and be pretty good at it. I'll tell you how to do it in a minute. We can help you with that. Microsoft Office Suite, we talked about these. But look over here. LA County has a program called the Digital Divide. We have access codes for it. You can go online and online courses with great video courses where they'll have a teacher live teaching you how to do these three areas for sure. Social media and advertising. Because there are a lot of companies that need people who can use their social media to make money for the company. Coding and software and app development. This is all stuff you can get through the Digital Divide. You can take off that coming soon. We actually are helping. So we have about 8 students that are doing that right now. Okay. All right, that's all I had today.